Hi everybody, Miro from Wheatland Realty here. Thank you for joining me today and welcome to Park Bench Plainfield, your local community website where we feature and share the stories of business professionals who live or work in the Plainfield area. Today my guest is Enoch and he's the founder of Starts Up Front. I hope that you enjoy the story. Good morning, Enoch, and thank you so much for joining me today, and welcome to Park Bench Plainfield. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Sounds great. So why don't we just start with you telling us how did you get into your business and what it is that you do?
Easy. Well, I'm a high school football player, college football player, as well as going on to play some arena football. When I came back to Illinois, I saw a need for student athletes, especially O-line, D-linemen, to enhance their game because it starts up front, recognizing the big boys for doing their jobs first and foremost. When you look at the game of football, big boys aren't getting to work during off season. 7-on-7 is year-round, which allows the skill position players to develop their skill year-round. But for the big boys, they lack that approach. Coaches don't really spend that time with them like they do with skill players. Mm-hmm. So it starts up front was a strategy that I came up with because my son wanted to play football.
Okay.
And he went to Mount Carmel in 2010-ish, 11-ish, and then I started training him. Mm-hmm. And a lot of parents started seeing the skill set that I was providing for him. They were like, hold on, would you work with my son? And I started thinking like, yes. And then I went to a program out on Highland Park, which was EFT, work with their O-line, D-linemen. And once I left that organization, God gave me a vision to start up front, recognizing him, and start developing the big boys. So the concept came to fruition with me creating Starts Up Front in the year 2016, and since then it's been a blessing.
Right. So you've been doing it since 2016, going on 4 years. What have you enjoyed the most about doing what you do?
Well, divine order. That's what I call it because it starts up front with recognizing God, me being a minister, and giving back to a community of people who really didn't have the skill set. Starts Up Front starts off with making the unknown a recognized known person in the recruiting industry. So when you see a player that was unknown in the community in Illinois who really didn't believe that he had the skill set to go on and play Division I, Division II, or Division III, but we call it more so Division III football. Because when we look at a player that goes on and they play this sport, and they didn't believe in themselves, and then a year passed, 2 years passed, then they're going off to a Division I or II school, and they're not paying for it. It gives the parents financial freedom, right, as well as the individual to walk into an organization and achieve his academic as well as athletic dream.
Right. Now, as with any new venture and enterprise, there's challenges that we have to overcome.
Sure.
What have been some of the things that you had to face and work through?
Well, consistency, I would say that, because student athletes hear certain things from this side, or another side that tells you, I can do some of the same things he's doing at a reduced rate. Mm-hmm. And we know the economy, and when you have a set program that you see the beginning and the end result, some people tend to listen to, other organizations, which when they first started Starts Up Front was one of the first offensive and defensive lineman focused organizations that was out here. But since then, a lot of people have branched off and developed their own O-line, D-line. So the challenge is consistency, making sure the parents can, when you develop something, try to build a relationship with the family first and foremost, so they can continuously give back to your organization as you gave to that individual.
Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to kids, young men, who are thinking about being serious when it comes to football, but perhaps they have some doubts in their minds? What would you say to those kids out there?
Well, like I say, Starts Up Front is spiritual, divine. You have to be connected spiritually in order to be successful. So just like the Bible says, let this mind that's in Christ Jesus also be within you, you have to be focused upstairs because it's not going to be easy. And if it's easy, it's not worth doing. So individuals that really want to do this, it's going to take the extra. You got to get up early. You got to do the extra. Just sitting at home playing the game and doing all those. While they're doing that, What I mean by they, the individuals that really say they want to do it, but really don't want to do it, let them go ahead and sit at home. But you need to be running, you need to be lifting, you need to be working on your skill set year round, because football isn't a seasonal sport anymore. It's a year-round approach that coaches are really looking for the individual that stands out during summer camps or during the initial visits when they come out to see the particular player, what they're looking for to, grow their program.
So you have to be committed, you have to be consistent, there has to be discipline, you got to put in the work. It doesn't just magically happen.
That's right.
What you get is what you give, really.
Yeah. And some parents fear the process because they're looking like, what is the benefit of me paying for your training? But when they see players that come from starts up front, comparing them to the individuals that was on the team the previous year and see how much they've gained the knowledge, they're like, wow, that kid has an offer, what have you been doing? And most college coaches see that individual like, man, you've been trained by someone else. Who's that individual?
Right.
So building a brand is very important. You want to build a brand that stands out, not just among, your peers, but you want to get your name out as far as the marketing to help more and more individuals, because the one that you send out, he represents you, and they will come back, meaning coaches will come back to find out more and more about, individuals that's in your program.
Right. What would you say sets you apart from your competition? Because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who are doing what you're doing, trying to work with kids, help them get to the next level, give them confidence. How are you different from your competition?
Well, it's good you asked. I've been assistant principal, so I know how to teach. I know how to be patient with individuals. A lot of people just come train and they don't connect. I'm able to demonstrate everything that I'm teaching, so I can break it down from youth level, high school players, college, and even professionals. You have to have a skill set at each level to develop that particular player, because if you're trying to teach youth NFL approach, it's not going to work. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to be a true teacher of the game in order to give that necessary skill set to the individual who's lacking. Mm-hmm. And I also look at the ministry part, but because I'm able to connect with people. I'm a people's person.
Right.
And if you're not a people's person, they'll eventually fade away. So that's my approach to it, and I believe that consistency will, allow starts up front to grow and develop over the years to come.
Now, being a parent myself and having teenagers, I know that one thing that always goes through our minds is, well, all of this sounds great, but how expensive is it, right? How much do I have to shell out? Can you talk to us about pricing structure at all?
Sure. For a group session, we have two different approaches. What I mean by two different approaches, we have a group session, which, it's individuals that could come from youth, high school, that can partake in it. And for a group, it's $40 for an hour. And we call it a power hour, or an hour of power, because we do speed and agility training and enhance the footwork. Then we also go into the mentorship portion of it, which is to give them that one-on-one approach or that group approach to develop the skills. And once that happens, we do somewhat of competition. Competition allows them to see the skills that they're developing against probably an 8th grade going up against a freshman or sophomore in high school. So they see the benefits. When it comes to one-on-one training, that's me and a small group of 2 to 3 that's working, and that's $100. The group is $40. The individual one-on-one is $100.
Right. When you look at 2020, what's on the horizon for Starts Up Front? What are you hoping to accomplish?
Well, just be a network that allows players from all over that didn't believe, didn't think they would have the skill set to develop, grow it into a bigger business in the years to come, so they could become more of a feeder system for college recruiters, high school recruiters who are looking at the youth program, and professionally, individuals that want to come back and train to get ready for the NFL Combine, to take their game to another level. That's our approach. To the community as a whole, high school coaches, we're here to help. Youth programs, we're here to help. We're not here to take away the players from your program, because we're giving you back a finished product. That's how we look at it. To enhance the players, it takes year-round approach. And high school coaches can't touch their players. Youth coaches can't touch their players during the off-season. So we're just a vehicle trying to help you as a coach, to help the individuals. And parents, we also help with the recruiting process. We know that parents really don't understand this approach, but the recruiting process is one that's rigorous, and we're here to help.
Enoch, once again, thank you so much for meeting me today and for sharing your story with us and for giving us a chance to get to know you a little bit better.
Sure, no problem. I appreciate you allowing Starts Up Front, me, Enoch Smith, as the owner, to be part of this interview process. And we look forward to building a bigger and better relationship in years to come.
If you would like more information on Starts Up Front, all you have to do is scroll down to the bottom of this page and reach out to Enoch, and he'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. And for those of you who would like to get a chance to share your story on this website, please visit www.parkbench.com/Plainfield and click on the request interview link, and we'll take it from there. Thanks for joining us, everyone.